Podsnappery, the willful determination to ignore the objectionable or inconvenient, at the same time assuming airs of superior virtue and noble resignation. Typically, we explore things that I find unusual, interesting, or annoying, and today our subject leans heavily on the latter. So let's spill the tea. This episode, I want to talk about something that has been on my mind for a while now: gun violence. This is a uniquely American problem. I want to focus specifically on mass shootings. So let me begin by defining a few things. The Gun Violence Archive provides what I consider the best definition of this atrocity. Mass shootings have a minimum of 4 victims shot, either injured or killed, not including any shooter who may have also been killed or injured in this incident. Pretty grim, I know. But think about it. If only 3 people are shot, injured, or killed, it is not counted as a mass shooting. Keep that in mind as we look at this by the numbers over the last 5 years. In 2019, there were 417 mass shootings. In 2020, the number jumped to 610. 2021 increased to 690, and 2022 saw a slight decrease to 646. That is still a high number when you consider only 273 in 2014. Shit, did I just say only? Now looking at 2023 so far, 110. Yes, 110 mass shootings from January 1st to March 14th, 2023. And you probably didn't even know that. That's almost 2 per day. This number had to be adjusted every day we were researching this episode because the number kept going up daily. In 2021, there were only 92 in the same time frame. This does not bode well for the rest of the year. Let's cut to the chase. 5 years after the horrifically tragic events that took place in 2018 at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, we saw a similar tragedy happen this year at Michigan State University. Almost 5 years to the date. Now here's the kicker. 2 of the students who were present at Michigan State were going through their second mass shooting. You heard me. Freshman student Emma Riddle and Ava Ferguson were both seniors at Oxford High School on November 30th, 2021, when a mass shooting happened there, about 80 miles from MSU. Reporters later quoted Emma Riddle asking, "When will this end? Why the hell do we even have to ask?"
I have watched in anger and in tears as our elected government officials disregard our voices as we keep dying. 2 nights ago, I was taken back to the 30th, experiencing something I thought I would never have to go through again. Today, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted that I know what is coming. Exhausted I am once again asking our legislators to put our lives first. We are dying. We, the children of the United States of America, are dying every day. How many will die before it is enough?
We are dying. How many will die before it is enough? That is the question, Emma. I mean, what the actual fuck, people? Now, one would expect that you could take some steps to prevent this, right? Organize, hold rallies, or hold a peaceful protest. Maybe reach out and talk to elected officials. Then maybe they could change some laws, right?
But no!
In Michigan, which has some of the weakest gun laws of any state, Democratic lawmakers in the state filed a host of bills targeting gun safety 3 days after the mass shooting at MSU. It is now with the Michigan Senate, and we anticipate a vote on the bills soon. Yet, in Washington, we have elected officials doing what they do best, the time-honored song and dance of offering thoughts and prayers. I'm sure some believe that helps, but similar to legislators that offer up that lip service, in my view, they are both as worthless as tits on a lizard lady. Check this out. Now we have members of Congress wearing assault rifle pins on their clothing. Meet Andrew Clyde, the little shit behind this stunt.
I'm Congressman Andrew Clyde from Georgia's 9th District. I hear that this little pin I've been giving out on the House floor has been triggering some of my Democrat colleagues. Well, I give it out to remind people of the Second Amendment of the Constitution and how important it is in preserving our liberties. If I missed you on the House floor, please stop by my office in Cannon. I have plenty more to give out.
If that wasn't demonstrative enough, certain members, and they know who they are,
Danger glands.
I found a tack in my flip-flop and now I'm suing.
It's sharp in the forest.
I love big arteries.
Of course you do.
they have not only had the metal detectors removed from outside the House chamber, they want to open carry loaded weapons in Congress. You know who I'm talking about, right? Every civilized nation has laws and restrictions on firearms. Why are we the outlier? Oh, I know. You want to talk about the Second Amendment. Fine, let's do that. The Second Amendment was one of 10 amendments to the Constitution added on December 15, 1791, 15 years after the Declaration of Independence. The Second Amendment states, and I quote, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." What we have in this country is flagrant Podsnappery. People are determined to ignore the inconvenient parts of the Second Amendment. They shorten it to the right to bear arms. If this was a test of reciting, they'd fail. That's 5% of the Second Amendment, and it's out of context. Honestly, people, if you want to bear arms, wear a fucking tank top. Fewer people will die that way. Let's break this down into digestible chunks, shall we? First, a well-regulated militia. Well-regulated, meaning checks and balances, regulations or laws, meaning someone or a group is in charge of creating rules or laws that keep people in check. For example, an HOA, neighborhood watch, PTA, etc. Militia is defined as a part of the organized armed forces of a country liable to call only an emergency, or a body of citizens organized for military service. And if I'm not mistaken, each state has a well-regulated militia already. It's called the National Guard. Let's continue. Being necessary to the security of a free state, referencing the separation of state or local government and federal government, and the protection of states being in charge of their own laws and the federal government not being able to change them. Moving on. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Since this is the only section people remember and quote constantly.
With all due respect, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't need to explain the meaning of those words, do I? No. Suffice it to say, it was a very different time period and a very different type of arms they were bearing. Instead, I will explain the importance of context. So, here is the entire Second Amendment with all the words all together to give you the full meaning. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This means a controlled group of people, as an offshoot of the military, have the right to carry firearms in the defense of states' rights against the federal government. And the federal government will not have a hand in the ruling of that group of people. It does not state, nor does it mean, individual people acting of their own accord. It does not state, nor does it mean, a group uncontrolled or unmonitored or unregulated. It literally says well-regulated. The founding fathers wanted arms to be regulated. That means rules and regulations.
What?
I'm sorry, I try to keep it light around here. But the general public is making it really fucking hard to do that right now. I mean, we have members of Congress and state legislature bought and paid for by the NRA defending this fantasy version of gun rights. The tally of people, and especially children, killed in mass shootings is growing every day, and they respond by trying to change the subject. Now, their latest sideshow stunt is trying to deflect the blame by pushing through bans on drag shows and drag in general, saying they are a danger to children. I just can't. Jon Stewart, please explain. I am so tired.
You want to ban drag show readings to children?
To minors, yes.
Why?
Why?
What are you protecting?
Why can we prohibit children from voting, those under 18 from voting?
Why are you banning?
Also that
is that free speech? Are you infringing on that performer's free speech?
they can continue to exercise their free speech, just not in front of a child.
Why?
Because the government does have a responsibility to protect.
I'm sorry?
The government does have a responsibility in certain instances to
What's
protect
the
children.
leading cause of death amongst children in this country? And I'm going to give you a hint. It's not drag show readings to children.
Correct, yes.
So what is it?
I'm presuming you're going to say it's firearms.
No, I'm not going to say it like it's an opinion. That's what it is. It's firearms. More than cancer, more than car accidents. And what you're telling me is you don't mind infringing free speech to protect children from this amorphous thing that you think of. But when it comes to children that have died, you don't give a flying fuck to stop that, because that shall not be infringed. That is hypocrisy at its highest order.
That is hypocrisy at its highest order. And that's no cap. So, willful determination to ignore the objectionable or inconvenient, at the same time assuming airs of superior virtue and noble resignation. I'd say this blatantly fits our definition to a fucking capital P, and that, my friends, stands for Podsnappery. Thanks for watching. I'm Liz Hill. The last thing I want to do is hurt you, but it's still on my list.